All right, so we're just about to start Parshas Shemos. Who knows what special time of the year begins with Parshas Shemos?
Shovavim.
That's right, Shovavim. Exactly right. Shovavim is an acronym for Shemos Va'erebo B'Shalach. Yesod Mishpatim. This year it's going to be Shovavim Tat, which is Truma Tetzaveh, because it's a leap year, and there's two others. There's a little bit of extra. We get a little extra time there this year. Shovavim. So when's the main time we fix what we're supposed to fix on Shovavim? Rav Tzaddok says that the main time we fix what we're supposed to fix on Shovavim is the Shabbatot of Shovavim. He says that is the highest main time. That's the time when you get to think about your week and yourself and try to change things. Which is surprising to many people. They say, what do you mean? On Shabbos, I'm only supposed to think about chant. And kugel, I don't know, fish. What is all this? But really, Shabbos is not what Shabbos is about. Shabbos is about, we're supposed to be trying to remember Hashem and bring Hashem into our life on a totally different, optimal level. That's what Shabbos is for. Emunah, like to recharge our Emunah batteries. That's one of the reasons why there's a Shabbos. So every Shabbos, what gives it its vitality is the Parsha on Shabbos. That's why we read the Parsha. It's not just when we read the Parsha. We read the Parsha because that is what imbues the character of the day. So he says Shemos shows that even though we were completely subsumed, completely nullified in the Egyptian exile. We were there and we were under them completely. We cried out and Hashem heard us. Like we're like a child in the womb, and we're like completely, and that means of course totally unactualized, totally just like potential, but like not getting anywhere, not focused, not the way we should be. So we cried out and Hashem heard us. So that's the biggest ticket in the world, because that's the worst place in the world for this sort of inyanim. We want to be Zohar to Kedusha. Shovavim is very much a time to work on Brit. It's a time to work on Kedusha, on personal purity and holiness. And the first foundation of that, at least, and it's very sad that many people aren't aware. I know of one mother likes to say when the child starts to work on Brit, he says that's when they start to get very angry and tense. Like so that's not what it's supposed to be about. Maybe that's where he's holding right now, but it's not supposed to be not angry, not tense. But it's supposed to learn that bris, taking up bris, taking up bris, it's the same. It's synonymous with the aspect of taking of simcha, and nova, and emunah. Those three, that's what I always say, is a very, very important point. And in essence, it's not clear where you start. Every person start where you're supposed to start, but he has to know I'm building in all these areas. If we're not working on simcha and emunah and nova, then the Brit's not going to be so easy to fix. Not going to be so easy. The person wants to have holy thoughts. They say that, right? From the Maggid says that machshava is osios b'simcha, right? Machshava means you have to be in joy. That's b'simcha. When you have positive, good thoughts, that's when your machshava is the way it should be. Otherwise, you're not really getting where you're supposed to be in these areas, in these aspects. That's the first thing to be aware of. That's the first piece from Rav Tzaddok. Not sure whether to do the next one, or just to move to the Komarna. Okay, I'll do part of the next one at least. It's important to be aware that Tikkun Brit does not only mean also Kedusha in terms of personal purity, it also means personal purity in speech. That's why Rav Tzaddok says, Moshe said that we were not redeemed because we spoke Lashon Hara. He said we did not have completion. We weren't complete. That's brought in many places. Zohar says there's bris or bris halashon. There are different aspects of bris. The bris of by the tongue is also called bris chrysalis fasayim. Bris chrysalis fasayim, where Nachman brings that saying things, the Gemara really saying things that are inappropriate if you don't mean it can trap you. They can keep you. Words have tremendous power. But you should never say, I would love to do that if it's not appropriate and not good, because that can hold you back. Even if you mean only to trick people into being better or whatever, or helping them or I don't know what. It's a bad idea. One shouldn't do it. Have to be, as much as possible, be careful with how we speak and what we say. I mean, sometimes there's no choice. I don't remember if I told the story, but Rosh Zalman someone came to him. Was an older man, and he was, I think, 98, and he had a minor problem. He needed a hospital. And he went to the hospital, like, you're already 98, could you just go die? Like, that was what they said. Like, really, this is not for you, come on, you're 98, finish, what are you doing here? So someone sounds like, what do we do with these, these doctors? Like, what do you say to them? Well, his life is valuable, they don't care. Like, there's no space, whatever, there's nobody to talk to. In Israel, I don't know if you guys know, sometimes there's nobody to talk to. You probably know, most people know. Sometimes there's, like, nobody to talk to, you have to find a different way. So he spoke to an Aski and he said, could you find some way to get this guy admitted to the hospital? So he was like, yeah, there really is no one to talk to. Like, nobody's going to be 98. Happened to my grandfather. You should live and be well. They were like, we'll do this operation. He's how old? What? No. This is worried, dangerous. It suddenly became different people. Anyway, Baruch Hashem, things worked out. So what this guy did, he went to the hospital. And he brought in this, again, the guy, he was older. He didn't look that old. He was old. He looked like maybe 80s, 90s. It's hard to know how old exactly he was. He was in pretty good health, except for his problem. He said, I need to admit this person in the hospital. I said, who is he? Where's he from? He said, I found him. He doesn't seem to be. He was a little disoriented. He said, I don't really know. I'm sorry. I have no idea, but he needs help. Oh, yeah, they admitted him. They dealt with him. They helped him. That was it. So he went and told Rosh Hashanah. He said, here I am. See, I helped him. He was so proud of his great his way around the problem. So Shlomo was like, you had to do what you did, but you shouldn't be happy to have had a lie. You should feel like that's a problem. Like, people very often, they don't get it. Like, you need a lie. It was a great lie, but it's not, I'm so happy I lied. That's not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to realize that I'd like to be telling the truth. There are even opinions that you have to find a way to tell the truth if it's at all possible. Any way, try to find a possibility, different ways of looking at what to say and how to say. But there's a bechina that's called the speech. Be very, very careful to understand that everything has to do with speech. Redemption has a lot to do with speech, right? Hamanti ki adaber. This one say, when I speak, that builds my Emunah. That's why Rav Tzaddok says a beautiful thing. He says, Sachim, interesting enough, starts with speaking appropriately. What does that have to do with Pesach? Or Yudalid? So it's used the language of light. So the Tzaddik says no. The idea of Pesach and Geula and from Golus getting out has a lot to do with speech, fixing your speech, because that's the second of Tzaddik. Yeah, I guess that's it for now, and we'll continue with. Again, one more thing, I guess. One more short thing. This is just so much. It's like, So he says one other beautiful, beautiful thing. He says it's interesting that sometimes you have a list of the tribes. This one and that one. You'd say, every time pretty much they have a list. One would assume that it's possible to sort of like skip it. We just did by Yechiyev to me, Be'el Shemos. And if you didn't tell the names, and that's the name of the whole book, Be'el Shemos. Very interesting. What does that have to do with anything? So he says a very beautiful thing. He says, no, it means the merit of these shvatim, these tzaddikim. That's how things move the way they were supposed to move. And then you have Yaakov also we mentioned. And especially their pathway in the world. This is something we spoke about a few times. So he adds another couple of pieces, so we'll add those pieces now. He says, for example, Reuven has to do with fixing sight. Shimon is from the aspect of hearing, right? From Re'ir, Reuven. Shimon has to do with fixing hearing, etc. All of them have different aspects. He says, and we go in that way through their merit, we're able to be taken out of the galut. That's what he says. That's how he explains it. And each time there's a reason why. That's how he explains why are we calling it Shemos and why are we bringing in all these names? What do they have to do with anything? That's what Tzaddik's explanation. All right, so now we're going to do a little bit of the Komarna. Komarna was also very hard to pick pieces. There's just so much. So I guess I'll start with unbelievable stuff. But I guess I'll start with one piece. The snake. It says that the aspect of Moshe's staff is an aspect of our ability to choose. Choice, free choice. So when you start to deal with free choice, it says there's a problem. You start to notice that it's a snake. Physicality is very hard to deal with. It's very not easy. It's very not simple. So like, what do I do? It's a snake. It ran away. Like, I can't be involved in this world at all because it's a snake. It's not venomous. How do you deal with it? So Hashem said, no. You have to be involved. You can't totally kill your body. Like Rav Nachman said, you cannot kill yourself. You're going to try to suffer and suffer. It's not going to get anywhere. You have to learn how to fix the physicality. So that's where you grab it by the zanav. To grab it by the back. He said, that means the good of it. Take it just by a little bit. He says that Zanav, right? Zayin Nun Beis. Zanav, he said that's Zayin Ben. That means 7 times you have to learn how on every level, and I guess we'll go a little Kabbalistic here as it were, on a simple plane that you have. It's called an aspect that's called chesed. What that means is your ability to be godly by being kind, right? That's a person called chesed. Every person has chesed. And then you have an aspect that's called Gevurah, the ability to be not expansive is chesed, and then constrict, limits, right limits. And then we have Tiferet, which has to do with truth, the capacity to be true, again, using that for the proper way. And then you have Netzach Yesod, the 3 more aspects. Netzach means the ability to win through by being stubborn and going till the end and figuring out the right counsel, or being inappropriately stubborn. And then you have Hod, is this aspect of praising, either appropriately praising other people, praising Hashem, or wanting praise for oneself. And Yesod is foundation. Foundation means you understand that what you do counts and makes a difference. That's the foundation of everything. I can make a difference. I can influence things. I can do things. And then the last aspect is called Malchut. Malchut is the aspects where we really have nothing. The person's in a place where he just katnut, he can't get anywhere. He needs to just make Hashem the king. So on all these aspects, you have a Zayin Nun Beis, Zayin Ben. You have to figure out on all of these aspects. So on the one hand, this aspect of Ben, as we know, Nun Beis is Gematria Behema, right? 7 bechinas, 7 aspects, which if misused will cause a person to just be like his Nefesh Bahami will take over. The Nefesh Bahami takes over. It's very, very hard. But on the other hand, you also have this aspect of the Ben. The person has to use it to be realized he's a Ben. I'm Ben for Hashem. I'm a child to Hashem, and I have to take this zanav. Because all of these aspects are what makes me Hashem's child. I'm in this world and I'm challenged, and that's what Hashem loves. The Baal Shem Tov says it's like a parrot. You have this special parrot that it talks, goes from that bird kingdom. It's not usual, it's beautiful plumage, and here it is saying a few words, and everyone's, wow, look at that parrot. A bunch of says that is us. That is us. We're in this crazy physical place, this unbelievably wild, impossible place, and we say a few things. We go connect to Hashem. We have spirituality bringing in the world, and it's like an amazing thing. How could you have spirituality in such a horrible place? Such an impossible place. It's a beautiful place on the one hand. Rav Nachman said you can make unbelievable gains. You can profit amazingly here. You don't have to put, usually when you profit, you have to have money put down, right? If you don't speculate, you can't accumulate. You got to get some money down to buy stuff, to move it. You can't always make a lot of money without having money, but very often not. But he said, here, no problem, anything. You don't need to put anything down. It's all just whatever you want. You just have to pray, do some learning, do some good things. It's all, no problem. It's easy. But it's a very hard place to be. Rav Nosson brings the medrash that the 3 angels came down and couldn't move. Stayed here for years, centuries. Couldn't go anywhere. Just by having food one time was enough to make them so physical and crass they couldn't reascend without a tremendous clarification. The other angels that fell, they fell all the way. That's not so easy. It's not easy world. We would manage. You think you would manage. Can't manage here. It's not so easy. So that's this aspect of Zanav, right? So that's the good aspect. You have to grab the physicality and say, no, I'm focusing on the positive, focusing on the fact that I'm Hashem's child. I want to use it for what it's supposed to. That's what I'm there for. Said every person, don't destroy your body, but do what you're supposed to do with as much holiness and purity as you can muster. Whatever way you can. Try your best to do what you're supposed to do. See, He said, and the most important thing is to have oneg with Hashem. So you have to, we're here, we're supposed to use ourselves to bring in a connection with Hashem. And if we're not able to do that, then there's something very, very essential missing from us. Yeah. So the same thing with...
Yearning is not enough.
Yearning is beautiful, and everyone has to know where they're holding. We all have to know, I have to know where I'm holding. And we all have to, it's very hard to tell someone else, you're holding here or you're holding there. One example, if you have a person who's, Ray Nachman said, don't worry so much. He said, worry is very bad. Don't worry. Do your best and don't sin. Find your right way. If you see this way is not working, try another way. Sometimes keep one way for a while. Like, find your own self. So I met somebody in Uman, actually. And this guy, never, I was like, we were speaking, he's like, you have to, I don't know, he had a very big, he was very, very involved in this petek, this letter. He's very involved. He said, anyone who doesn't want to say this petek has nothing to do with anything holy. And I was like, listen, my friend, I wish you every good. There's a lot of commonality between us. We're at Rav Nachman. We want to connect. This stuff we can talk about some other time. Maybe he was not having any of it. He really was militant about it. I have to this, I have to that, and this thing and that thing. We had a long discussion. But at one point, I was like, "What are you striving for? Like, where are you holding?" He's like, "Why don't you do anything?" Rav Nachman said, "I take a walk in the park. I had a good day." That's not really called ratzon. You know, for him, maybe yes. I don't want to judge the guy. Maybe he wasn't well. Other things he said, maybe he's talking really not well. He seemed pretty okay, but he spoke very balanced after that. But like that's true, and it's not true. It's not true at all. So every person has to know where they're holding and who they really are. I have to be able to figure out who I am and be able to do what I'm supposed to do. I have to know sometimes I did think I was wrong. You know, you meet people in our day and age. It's an amazing thing. You know, you figure I'll just check my mail, right? Open your thing, check your mail, and it's 4 hours later. You're like, what happened? Did I do anything bad? No, for me, that wasn't bad. I didn't do anything bad. Didn't go anywhere bad. Played chess, did this, whatever the guy did, whatever. He went here, this blah, that blah, this thing, that thing. So you're interested in science, whatever. Was it what Hashem wanted? No. Was it what I wanted? Also no. So like, what happened? So I want, and that's beautiful, but I have to try to actualize and bring that into the mindset. How do I do that? Well, there are places without a connection. Maybe that's the best way. There's this way, there's that way. But I have to think very carefully and say, what am I doing? So on the one hand, I have to be very, very happy with all the positive I do. I'm very thankful. And on the other hand, I have to try to move forward in whatever way I can. So the answer is, for sure it's enough. And I'm also trying to get to a place where I'm striving for more. But for sure it's enough, because you can't mess up. And it's for sure, there's no way to, you can't ruin it. You didn't, and if not, there's no if not. But on the other hand, why shouldn't I try to move forward? Why shouldn't I move forward? There's a certain point where it's worthwhile. The Michtav, and he's very right. He's like, yes, okay, everything's eternal, but like, bottom line is, that's not, you don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, you did a couple of things, that's eternal. That's not what you want. You want like the differences are very big differences. You don't want to lose. Oh, yeah, crown, you don't need a crown. You know this, you don't need this. You know, it's all spiritual stuff. It's not it makes a difference. It's a big deal. It's not a little thing. It's a big thing. We have a part of Hashem in us. We're connected in a very, very deep way. Maybe we'll learn that in the Zohar. We'll see there's something called Shechina, what these things are. We'll see. We're very connected. Why shouldn't we be a connection that's as best as we can? To move forward slowly but surely and get to a place where you really, you shine. Why should we shine? It's our choice. It's a choice. The ratzon, the real ratzon, is going to make us shine. So again, if I'm not doing it, so okay, so the person's held back, but there are a lot of things that hold us back. And those things are real things, and you can't tell somebody, kill yourself to do this. And if not, you're unredeemable is ridiculous from our perspective. You're really messed up. Not necessarily. A person, he does his best. Why do you expect, as one person put it so well, he said, you have a problem with this guy for not waking up in the morning, but you give yourself a pass with your temper. Why? He said, how come your temper, which is also the same idea, right? Because he's strong fire, there's a fire about getting up, there's a fire about a little inappropriate sometimes when, someone nips. It's not exactly what he likes. He's on fire, right? So you need a temper. Your temper is like, why is that given a pass? He said, you're not okay. You have to wake up in the morning. Why isn't your temper getting that kind of treatment from anyone? So because that's you and that's him. So why is that worse than that? Who said? Maybe he's better. He's relaxed. So I don't know. He said, but nobody knows. So why are you so certain? Again, could be you need to have, that's how you have to deal with someone, maybe if it's in yeshiva, I don't know, whatever, a person has to wake up, you're not going to get up, what's going to happen? But every person has to know what exactly is the balance. What do I need to do it? How do I need to do it? But the first thing is to realize that we all have this staff, and the staff turns into a snake, right? The staff is a bechina, also it's asked for rulership of who we are. It's going to be a snake. It's a snake. We have to grab that zon off.
We all have a snake?
We all have it. Everyone. Yeah.
So we each have a personal snake.
Yep. We all have a personal pet snake. That's right. Don't feed too much, especially after midnight. I'm just kidding. No, don't feed it. Don't be careful to have it. Use it right. But like it's for sure true. The girl, oh boy, he really. So when I even go there, he goes on, holy snake, this thing, that, whatever. Anyway, actually, yeah, there's a lot of discussion. But the bottom line is that on a simple level, we all have this aspect that's called a snake. And that's called the Chet HaMarishan. That's what it did. It brought it in. And here we are. And we have this snake. It's very hard to purify and clarify. And a person should never think that I'm doing something that's clean. This is clean. This is clean. Not necessarily. I hope so. I'd like to be, but it's not so clear. It's not so clear. There's a story with Baditchever. He was with his father-in-law, and here he is sitting, right? Kol Nidri night. They didn't have a special chazan. They picked whoever they thought was the most worthy to daven. So you, young man, he'll go up to daven. So he goes up, and he stands there, and half a minute goes by. A minute. You say Kol Nidri before Shkia, like generally when the sun's up, whatever that means. It's late. Like, in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So Baditchever picks up the Torah and says, okay, so you daven. Puts it down. Says, I can't daven. Is this guy normal? Like, is he balanced? That's what you say. So you daven. It was waiting for you to daven. You throw it down. You say yes. You say no. So his father knew already that he was, he'd been to the Chassidim, whatever, but, he was also a special person. So he asked him, what was that all about? He said, I went up to daven, and, I felt like, this is going to be a really big honor for me. I was like, I don't want honor. Like, I wasn't asking my Zohar about it. Like, no, I want Hashem's honor. So he's like, nah, you want Hashem's honor. You want your honor. So he's like, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be this place. I went to the Maggid to purify myself from these sort of thoughts. So the Torah is like, I went to the Maggid with you. I was right there with you. I did this. I was there. I did that. I was there. So he's like, okay, so then you daven. You don't need daven. You daven. You were there. You daven. So I have to decide if I can have a good thoughts. If not, goodbye. I'm not interested. So you have to know, it's very not simple. We're always dealing with this bechina that's a snake. It's not something that's supposed to be surprising. This is supposed to be, oh, wow, what a surprise. Where did this come from? It's supposed to be something that's obvious. We have to do our best to really work very hard. The first aspect of work, like to say in Kelm, it's a very important point. The first aspect is learning to be patient with another person. That's it. He's a snake, and I'm okay. No, everyone's a snake. And I have to do my best not to be angry because this guy's a different kind of snake than I. His snake there is harder than my snake here. It shouldn't be surprising. And again, we're supposed to look at the good points of other people. I'm not supposed to say, but we shouldn't be like, so I would never be like that. No, that's what you think. That's what you think. If you were in his situation, what he went through, maybe you'd be worse. Who knows? Who knows? Nobody knows. We have no way of knowing what he went through, who he is.
So always be thinking, is this what God wants from me?
I'm supposed to think, no, that's what the Komarna says. I'm supposed to think, I'm here to enjoy Hashem. And I want to bring that into me. And I want to live that and not let the snake get in my way. These midas. This, that. No. Remember Hashem. Where is Hashem in the world? Where? If I'm connected to Hashem, everything's great.
What does it mean to enjoy Hashem?
I want to bring Hashem into my life. What stops me from enjoying Hashem? All these crazy thoughts. This thought, not this. Let go of all the thoughts and say, Hashem, I want you now, please. And just realize, wow, He's filling the world. He's connecting, and everything's fine. But it's not an easy thing to do. It's not easy. But that's how you get out of the galus. That's what it's for. The galus to wake you up, say, hello, this is not about, why are you in traffic? Because this is not about getting here from point A to Z. This is about transcending this by bringing Hashem to your life. And that's up to us. We have a choice. It's totally our choice all the time. So all these thoughts and all these bechinas, they get in our way. He says, sometimes a person's becoming. Some person can't even daven. He can hardly daven. He's like, I can't daven. I can't. It's like he feels very small, diminished. It's hard for him. So it's not easy. He said, you have to do your best. Do your best to do whatever you possibly can and wait, and it'll come. So that's all. And everything comes. Get rid of the dinim. Get rid of these. They're all judgments. These things that get in our way. They're just judgments. They're just judgments. That's
So
all it is.
if you're a child, say a teenager,
Yeah.
and you want an ice cream cone,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in the middle of the mall,
Uh-huh.
can you have an ice cream cone as a way of connecting with God?
Of course, you do anyway. But it's not so easy to take your ice cream cone and really pick it up the way you should. We need to work on it. It's something we're yearning for. The Rav Nachman says in Sefer Midot, he says, if you don't taste your food, you're far from Hashem. There's something very far there. You're facing sparks. You don't want to taste it. It's a problem. That's what he says. You're supposed to taste it. You're supposed to enjoy it. You're supposed to pick it up to Hashem. Again, these are very, very high levels. It's not so easy to do. Really do it. That's what Nassim says. The main thing is what's it. By eating is the main thing is what's it. You're eating kosher. You're making a bracha. You want Hashem with it. Use the koach. It's not so easy. The eating is not an easy thing to really pick up and really be. But that's the bottom. That's what he says. He says you have to know there's no such thing as bad. It's all Hashem. It's all Hashem. Everything is from Hashem. Whatever it's from, you have to pick it up. You say, this is a bechina that's misused chesed. I want to pick it up to bring to the chesed of Hashem. This is the bechina of misused constriction. I want to use that for Hashem. Everything to remember Hashem. So do your best to daven every bit you can, with as much stress as you can, because it has a power to pick you up. Don't pay attention to all sorts of things that are confusing you. This bechina is called Erev Rav, mixed multitude. Just do your best. It'll come in. It'll come together. That's the first piece. A little shortened, but that's the first piece. Yeah. Yeah, so we have a problem. What does Moshe say? Moshe said, why were you bad? What did Hashem, why did you send me? Why did you make it so hard for this nation, right? Why did you send me? He said, Hariosa literally means made it evil for them. Probably made it harder, right? So he said, why are they feeling that things are bitter and hard? He said, obviously they lack applied Emunah. Emunah brings a person to feel connected to Hashem no matter what. We don't understand. There's a big picture. I don't know the picture. I'm just one of these simple. Everything I do every day counts for me, who I am. The whole world's worth it just for me. It doesn't matter. See, but look at all these things I'm missing. Missing this. This is incomplete. That's incomplete. No. Okay, so I don't know. There's a beginner person who's a tzaddik ador or who's a big tzaddik that's really working it. This is not the level we're talking about now. You're not supposed to hold on the biggest person in the world. You're supposed to know it's like half and half, and what I do is important. That's what you're supposed to hold. Tzaddik also is supposed to hold. We could talk about that some other time because it's not, unfortunately, it's not so applied to, at least not to me, I don't know, you guys maybe. But actually, yeah, like a person, we have to know where we are. So first of all, I'm just trying to serve Hashem. And I'm important no matter what. So why did you make it so bitter hard for them? Why is it so hard? So then what are you sending me for? They can't leave. You can't leave. You have to have Emunah. We have no schos. You didn't save them. Why is the point of Moshe saying you didn't save them? What, Hashem doesn't know this? He should save them. So the Komarna said saving them means that they have to be given the dveykut and the connection, the simcha to overcome the galut. What seems to be the trouble? What's the problem? Again, this is easy to talk about and not so easy to get to, but this is one of the biggest foundations of Chassidut, which is whoever you are, wherever you are, you can connect to Hashem and enjoy it. This is whoever you are, no matter what. So I did this and I messed this up and I'm hitting in the hair. They're speaking with someone at so this guy, hours and hours. Opens up, hours and hours and hours. And it's like, no matter what. Start again and try to find Netzach Victory. Maybe don't open. Don't open. It's not such an easy thing to deal with. Say, open it when you're done. Open. You have a limited time, open. Just think how to figure out an Eitzah, the way to do it. But like, what you didn't redeem them from the pain. They have to find a way to be. That's why we weren't on the level.
Who has to find a way to redeem who?
We have to find Hashem. We have to find a way to bring Hashem into our hearts. And Moshe was saying to get out of galut, you have to connect to Hashem. You have to have dveykut. You have to, in whatever it is, transcend. That's why from Yitzchak started this galut, they were able to transcend. So he said, a person in galus, he says, if you're in galus, if you're in exile, you're supposed to be able to connect to Hashem and feel like pleasure in connecting to Hashem. Also, the Chazon Ish, you see someone, he's upset, he's depressed. He's like, you're serving Hashem, you're davening, you're praying, you're learning, you're trying. Why aren't you satisfied? Why aren't you happy? So without any conditions, no conditions, nothing, no conditions. Chazon Ish a very hard life, very hard life. He didn't have it easy. Everything was great for him. No, it wasn't. He did the hardest things. And he's still, why shouldn't you? You're happy, that's it. It's up to you. It's a choice. When the neshama is happy, we just have to like get it in. Everything's fine. But it's not so easy. We're this nefesh b'hamis. That's also why Shabbos, the Shlach Kodesh. I always like to say this beautiful Shlach Kodesh. He says usually during the week the nefesh b'hamis takes over, makes life hard. So on Shabbos you have an extra nefesh with your nefesh eloki, and that can fight the nefesh b'hamis. You have like 2 against 1. You can like, if you want, you can overcome it and pick it up. But it's not so easy. It's not the we're supposed to be connecting to Hashem. This is like a big lesson. Just the first, like you said, the first Rav Tzaddok. You have to know I can. If I want, I can. It's a choice. We always have a choice. He said, girls, if we didn't have the ability to connect to Hashem, it's impossible. To learn how to be connected and think about Hashem, how to work with Hashem, how to work with what He wants us to do. He put me here for a reason. What I'm going through has a reason. So I have to learn how to enjoy. Why shouldn't I enjoy Shabbos? Why shouldn't I enjoy tefillin? I put on tefillin, I should enjoy. There's a bechina of, how will we say it? There's a bechina of somebody, this person, I mean, again, I always like to say this beautiful story as well. A person came to a certain Rebbe. He's like, how do I change? He's like, how do I change how do I change myself? What do I do? What's the maftech? And maftech really is simcha. That's what it comes down to. You have to always happy. That's the foundation of everything. Being simcha. And again, simcha is osus b'machshava. Right? Bis simcha is osus machshava, the Maggid says. And that's really what, again, this idea. I'm supposed to have positive, good thoughts. That's a choice I make. And if I find myself miserable, it's because I'm used to having, like the Netzach Victory says, and I always say this idea, it's a very important idea. It's because I have negative thinking patterns that take me places that are not good. And that's a choice I have to make every minute. It's my choice. And this might be hard to change, but I can change. I can focus on positive, focus on good, and be in a totally different place. I'm not supposed to be thinking about I don't know what. I'm supposed to be thinking that everything's Hashem, and everything's from Hashem.
Are we supposed to go to places, and preach this stuff to, somebody's going to bars and stuff like that and talk about this?
You
or
can.
Is this just for us?
You can. You have to know yourself. I mean, it's very, listen. The Baal Shem Tov said when you go to a bar, right, when you go to a place where people are far, he said, you're like a broom. He said, you're going to pick up the dirt. I think we're speaking about this. And it's not such an easy thing to do. Rav Nachman says also, he said, when you deal with people in a far place, you start to get like an inappropriate fire. You have to express that with fiery hisbodedus in the right way. You have to know yourself. You're building a Heichal HaKodesh. That's why Yaakov, that's what Rav Nassan says. He says, Yaakov had it hard. Why did he have it hard? Oh, you want to sit with Shalva? What do you think Shalva meant? You want to say, oh, here he is. In Eretz Yisrael, he just lost his wife, Nebuch, like however long ago, one of his wives, Yaakov, and here he wants to sit. Dina, all these terrible things. Like he wants to sit and like just serve Hashem. Oh, you want to sit around? You think it's going to be easy? No. Be hard, impossible. It's like, what did the man do? So Rav says, oh, you want to be Makar people? You want to pick people up from the bars? And you think it's going to be a picnic? No picnic. No picnic. It's going to be hard. So you have to know if you're on the level, you do your best. We try. We do what we can. It depends. You have to know yourself. You know who you are. Rabbi Yisrael Salanta sent his son to university. He went off the derech. He lost his connection to Judaism completely. Died that way. Rabbi Yisrael Salanta's son. He said, you'll be Makar of all these people in the university, and you'll explain to me. He thought he was ready, and I'm sure he knew the entire Shas and all the Talmud and every explanation and all the beautiful thing. And he was still swept away. Rabbi Yisrael Salanta was very upset at his wife. He said, I want you to go and act dressed like you're non-Jewish and make sure you're selling the best sandwiches that he likes, so he'll eat kosher without knowing it. And she's like, I'm not going there. He was like, what do you mean? It's your son. It wasn't simple. He heard that his son was going to he went to St. Petersburg, and they said if you want to, I don't know if it was getting his doctor at that point, or he wants to learn for his doctor, I'm not sure. You have to convert to, I guess, Roman Catholic, whatever, not Roman Catholic, the Russian Orthodox Church, I guess it must have been, obviously, right? You have to convert and be one of us. You can't be a Jew and get a doctorate. So he's like, okay, I'll do that, no problem. So he went to that, Yisrael Salanta heard that, he sat Shiva. Day 7, he gets him from Shiva, his son drops dead. Wow. Died. Now there's no communication, no one's talking, of course, it's not such a, it's a little embarrassing for the free thinkers, like the father sits, he dies, doesn't look good. So don't say anything. So it's Petersburg was the Rav of Petersburg, so he came to Rav Yisrael, he wanted to tell him what had happened. But you don't say it's not that. So he said, you know, it's already been 30 days and your son hasn't had any pas akum, any bread baked by a non-Jew. So Rizal immediately understood that meant that he had died, you know. But it's not simple. The whole Inyan, the whole situation, it's very, going to Makarv and bars is not simple. It's a rare person. I know of very few people who managed it without being singed. Very nice. And what does singed mean? Or what does this mean? It's not so simple. So, but yes, if you're holding by it, and if you can, then wonderful. That's amazing. Rebellion certainly holds you should go and from anywhere. You're saving their life. You have to be holding by it. That's what he says. And he says he gives advice. He gave advice. I know his students. One of his students asked him, why don't you go into these places and pull people out like you used to do? And again, this big Rahman, it's not a terrible machlokas on him, who knows what. But he said, I don't have koach anymore. And he's a very person, a lot of strength. He said, you don't have strength? What does that mean? She said, listen. So when I go to help somebody from a bar, from somewhere, some kid or some whoever, I want to help him. It's not enough to just give him words. You have to give him deeds. So you have to get his name. You have to picture him before every mitzvah you do and send it to him, to his neshama, to give him life. So I don't have koach anymore to send my deeds to him. But you're young. You can do it. You're only 40, 50. So he said to him, I'm ready. I can't. I don't have any more. But you can do it. That's what you do. Send your every good thing you do to these people, and that will wake them up. So if you can do that, yes, excellent idea. These ideas can help them for sure, and they have the power to help anyone no matter what, if they're put the right way and explained the right way. And Hashem can do anything. He doesn't need our help. And he can figure out, Rav Baruch wrote a book, and suddenly millions of people are reading it, and they're inspired in amazing ways. Hashem can do anything. But it's not simple. It's not so simple. It's also important to realize that the more we change, the more other people change also. It's also important to realize. The more people have a focus in this place, in this way, the more people are going to change too. It's not linear if you go and if you don't go. That's Hashem. We'll a little time try to remember Hashem in our life, and slowly but surely things will come in. I guess we'll do the Zohar now, quickly, hopefully.
Anytime I'll try to give over this stuff.
Huh?
Anytime I'll try to give over some things, it's in the context of chizuk of someone else. Chizuk and the down if I lift them up. What would a food dish Shabbos take?
It depends. It really depends. The truth is that sometimes when you give over, you're giving someone something. So it doesn't have to do with being there. That's a thing. I understand, but you should realize that even if it's a little thing, sometimes you can save someone's life, and you have the ability to do it. That's just you, me also. And I try my best. It's a challenge for me. You're talking about you're a cab, but you can schmooze the tab whatever about Torah. You talk about the weather, America, the Mets, whatever. You talk about Torah, what? But yes, the answer is you can. You certainly can in a simple way, in a good way. Maybe you should. It's not so simple to say, because it's why not? So I said, well, I just can't today. No, could be today not, but as a general, usual, again, this is something I certainly have to work on. It's not so simple to pick someone up and uplift them, and you're giving them something they can't get somewhere else. It's not simple. We have to learn how to. It's important. Every one of us is important. We have an important message to give. People who have a shaykhs too. They're the people who we're supposed to influence for good or for bad. So why not give them? It's not an easy. It's a big challenge. Big challenge on many levels. Just saying, no, what I have to say is important, and I can give this person life, or just let them stay where they are, or autopilot. Why don't I give them life? Not simple. Not as simple. It's hard. It's a hard decision. It's a hard judgment. It's a hard, like saying Azamra. You should know everything good you do is forever and all this stuff. I always know it's good when there's phone calls, and then it must be good. See, so that's it. So the Zohar is like this. I'll do a little Zohar. I'm going to be Yehuda. I'm not reading the Hebrew right. The Yehuda says every word. Yes, on the Parsha. It's a Zohar on the Parsha. Yeah, right. Every word, everything in the world has to do with tshuva and prayer of people. Everything that we were just saying before, we do, it all matters. You make tshuva, you're changing things. That's also very social. He said, you don't speak lashon hara one place, and somebody doesn't intermarry. What's the relevance? No, sometimes there's such a thing. There's a connection. it's not so simple. It's not easy. It's not an easy responsibility to realize that every second I'm doing big things or not. Losing out on big things. It's a big. Rav Nassim says, on the one hand, you have to be filled with joy more than all the gold and the silver in the world. The biggest, you won a lotto. I put on tefillin. I tzitzis. I helped somebody. I did a bracha. I was tanua. I acted in a modest way, in a good way. I helped. I told someone a word. A little Torah. All of this is so. It's like forever. Because again, for everything you lost, it's like the biggest loss in the world. Like you lost the lottery. And again, this is an attitude. It's like a lot of work. It's not a simple thing, but we're yearning for it. We want to get there. We're trying to. We're trying very much to. Again, we can use this to build patience. We say, well, I can be patient with Zohar. I'm trying and I'm working on it. Be patient. Learn how to be understanding of someone else. Fine. So everything has to do with tshuva and tefillah. He said, especially someone who cries during prayer. Crying in prayer. Because, Torah is supposed to bring to tshuva. Torah is tshuva. They're one source. Right? More or less. L'maisa, when you're connecting the Torah the way you should be, you're supposed to get tshuva right away. You're supposed to get tefillah right away also. It's one bechina. But that's what the Zohar is saying here, b'chol ofen. And prayer with tears. This is, of course, the Belzer Rebbe, the Shtar Shalom of Belz. They went in. They said it's a good time, it's an auspicious time to make we want to make a Chanukah Sabayas. We want to make a celebration. They built a giant shul. I actually read someone who had I can't even think of a good word. The very strange idea that building a big shul is like not the tradition of the galut. The galut's built a lot of shuls. What is this big shul? That's what the guy actually wrote. I couldn't believe it. I'm really like, is this guy for real? But anyway, Belz also built a giant shul. That's what they did. And the Shulchan Aruch, it says your shul is supposed to be the biggest, most noticeable building in the city. Like not like Shulchan Aruch, this galut, the press, and then it's like if you can't because they don't let you, they'll tear it down. The authorities. So then, and this guy's like, what for the galut? Anyway, very great, very tremendous ignorance. But in Belz, they also built a giant, beautiful shul. And they're like, we're ready to make like a party for building this beautiful shul, but we haven't yet built the women's section. Can we make the party? So he's like, no, the whole shul is ready. Just not, okay, the women, that's like, there's no minyan by the women's section. Like, what seems to be the trouble? Like, have women come already? When they come more, they come more, whatever. Shabbos, they come this, whatever. Like, what's maybe more, maybe then there were more coming. I don't know. But, he used to listen to the Gemara, right? And this is also, he said, the gates of tears are always open. Tears get through anything. He said, listen. Where's the crying? In the women's section. So we need them to pick up our prayers if there's no women's section. If there's no women's section, no snashim. You can't, it's not really, we're sort of stuck a little. So we have to build it as fast as possible. And certainly there's no party for sure without a women's section. There's nothing here yet. That's what the Belzer Rebbe said. Nachman also, the power of women's tefillah is very, very powerful, very, very strong. So that's the power of tears. Now, listen, I forgot which of the Chassidish masters, I forgot which one he said, if the tears open everything, why are there gates? Gates of tears. What is a gate for? A gate is something that's closed and opened. Mm-hmm. He said because when a person who's a fool cries inappropriately, the way it shouldn't be, you don't get what you want. Just, wait a second, it's not right. What are you doing? So that we lock it, it's closed. So, but generally speaking, if you're crying the way you should, that'll go through. The person says, no, he only needs to do what he's supposed to do. You don't need it. No one's going to ask you. God's not a tyrant. He said, why did you do this? Well, I couldn't. Oh, too bad. What do you mean too bad? Couldn't. You couldn't. That wasn't what you were supposed to do at all. That wasn't what you were supposed to do. The beautiful story I really love. Someone came to Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. I love the story. And he said, I really, this woman came to Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. She said, she said, I'm 16 years without a child, and I want a child. He's like, well, if you're Harold Long without a child, that's not your job here. You don't need to have a child. He said, if you want one, I can give you an Eitzah. Have counsel for you, but that's not what you need to do. If you want to get something you don't need, you need to give what you don't need to give. Find something that people need and give it, even though you don't have to. So she said, you know what? I realized that these children, no one's helping these sick children, cancer patients, giving them joy. So I'll give them joy. She started doing it. I said, lo and behold, she expected after her, I think it was 16 years, that she had a baby. So she wanted another son. I think she had 2 children or 3. And again, it was like waiting and waiting. Nothing. She's like, I'm going to go. I'll do more. She did more. Again, it worked. And then she did again. So there was another person who saw that she was like 16 years. It worked out. So what happened? So she told him, and he said, what can I do? I work. I can't just show up and help these kids like this lady. So he decided for him, he said, I'm going to give a kidney. He said, like within like a little bit, the next wife in the mikveh, she was expecting. 9 months later, he had a baby, and he gave the kidney. Again, I'm just saying like, they're not pushing the person. Chazanish had no children. It's not the tikkun. It's not the tikkun. Any person, when I say I can't do something, a person says, I can't learn. I spoke to somebody, I can't sit and learn. You're not supposed to learn. Like a little bit. You're not supposed. You have to like kill yourself. I have to. You have to sit and kill yourself. No. The reason I said you did that already. You don't need to do it here. You have another job. You have another task. That's not your job. You have another job. That's what the Holy Ari says. It was very surprising. So everyone told me if you don't learn, you're nobody. It's not true. If you don't learn, you're somebody. You're who you are. If you can, you can. It's not. It's also when a person's held back, we have to do our best. But there's no. It's not. It's a very strange view to say you have to be this, you have to be that. Nobody knows anything. We don't understand. For all we know, you have one person at the end of the world, and he's doing his best. She's doing her best, and the whole world's on this person. We can't tell. Nobody can know. The only thing we can probably most likely know is that if you think that's who you are, no way. But if you don't know it, maybe you're that one. It's possible. It's the whole world. It's picking up the whole world. We don't know who we are. We don't understand what effect we have, what impact we have on everything, on different people, different things. We have no idea. We don't understand. We just don't understand. So the power of tears has a tremendous power. Tremendous power. Go through all the gates. Yeah, I said you have a bechin. It's called the Shechina. Yeah, I don't know how much to go into this now. In very, very short and succinct, to put things very succinctly, when you talk about the Shechina, the aspect of Shechina, it's a little confusing to people because it seems like it's the Jewish people, it's the presence of God, what's going on. So the aspect of the Shechina is, again, bringing God's presence into the world. That's what it reveals. And really, every person, we all have a place in this place called Shechina. And either we're shining the way with the connection the way we should be, or more darkened, or somewhere in the middle, depending where we are. So in a way, it's very, that's what we say, like, you want to be the one who's there. You want to be the one who's remembering Hashem all day. And again, it's totally a choice, and it really has the bottom line to do with ratzon. What do I want? If that's what I want, that's what I'll get. You get it. It just takes time. The rest is something you get when you leave the world, but that's okay. That's okay. So that's when you can get it. You get it at the end. So that's why the last class said the beautiful thing. He said, breast of Chassidim who are like nowhere. Person was like a shoemaker, simple person, not very learned. And he died like the biggest tzaddik. The Chachadish were like, how did this guy go? And it was like, this Rebbe and him, I don't know if he's better or if they're better. Doing his borders, doing whatever he's doing, talking to Hashem, connecting. And like, just got the very end, it's like, no, now you get. Now you get. Time to go, now you get. And some people time to go and Hashem Shemot, they lose everything. It's a big test. Not easy. Because it's a hard thing. It's a potential for growth, but it's also potential for loss. It's always there. You have a choice. We all have a choice. So that's the bechin of bechia, right? That the power of our crying to Hashem, the power of like Moshe crying, like these different bechinas of crying.
About crying, we talk about broken heart.
Yes. No.
It's two different crying.
No, you're right. Very, very true. And that's exactly the idea. Thank you for bringing that up. And that's exactly right. When you cry, it has to be with hope. That's the story I always say, the beautiful stories of Nassim.
You can say you pray broken heart after you feel happy.
That's exactly, precisely right. You feel happy, you feel moving, you feel like moving, you're on the, exactly, that's what you brought down. And this idea of crying, there was one woman, they took her son, the Cantonist, Nassim told the story, and she cried for 3 days. They keep the child, they baptize him, they keep him in a religious school, and then he joins the army, and he comes home at 40. 40 he leaves. Usually these people didn't remember they're Jewish. So remember you're Jewish was unusual. I had a great-great-grandfather, who was a Cantonist who remembered he was Jewish. He remembered he was Jewish, but he didn't remember his name. Didn't know his last name, didn't know where he was from, because he was taken at 7. Kid, but Jewish, he knew. He went right back. Didn't care. But nothing, no way I'm not, you don't remember anything. So she's like, till 40, that's the end. Maybe you want to know. The kids, I have no idea. And she cried 3 days and died. So if she'd come to me, I would have taught her how to cry, not with despair, not from despair, from hope. And her son for sure would have left. And lots of other people would have left. And the power and merit of her such koach. It was just went to nothing because she didn't, no hope. Just broken heart, broken, until she died. Very good. That's not the idea. But again, we don't want to judge anyone, chas v'shalom, who knows the person's situation, despair, you can understand that person, it's very hard. But on the other hand, we have to realize everything counts. We all count wherever you are. It's not by accident. It's not. We think a person thinks, if only I had money, if only I didn't have money, if only this, if only that, if I had better health, I would then I would if I had this.
Listen, when you're happy, there is no gains.
That's the. Brought. I forgot who it was. I forgot who it was. Like it breaks through all the gates. I forgot who it was. I don't remember who it was. One of the Chassidisha, could be one of the Chassidisha greats. You burst through whatever it may be. Power of the simcha. Yes, simcha is a tremendous koach. It's true. And again, this is the same idea that we need to learn. Prayer counts, tshuva counts. Everything is predicated. We think prayer is, a person, daven faster, daven slower. Daven slow, that's also the Komarna says in this parsha, which we didn't get to yet. I think what we're not doing now. I don't know when we'll do it, if we'll do it. So I'll just say quickly, he says praying fast. Yeah, okay, they're tzaddikim and they can daven really quick, but most people, you need to work on slowing down, paying attention. Rav Nosson does say that it depends on the person. He says some people need to daven quickly. That's what you need. That's what you do. But you need to be working on, if you're how does Alter come put it? He's like, if you remember only certain words, you had prayer, you had kinabana. He said that usually that's a level, and that's great. But that usually means that that's all you're thinking about. The only time you thought about the davening was these few things, and that's it. He said it's a good start, but you want to get to a point where the whole davening is talking to you, not just these few words, and then you have extra thoughts. But not the person like, so what about the rest of davening? It's like, oh, I don't remember. You want to think, you want to focus. And again, it's a big challenge, and every little thing counts. Every Nachman says it started. You should start like a ger convert. It's very happy. Even read the words. He's like, thank you, and read the words. Read like that. That's okay. And appreciate it. It's important no matter what. It's a power in the tefillah. But on the other hand, we want to get to a point we're not giving up. We're doing it by saying, try to a little bit. So, to the very beginning of davening, do whatever you can. Shema Yisrael, whatever you can. Try to do whatever you can. Grab hold whatever you can. That's the general rule. The general rule is we do whatever we can. We try to move forward in whatever way we can. And we yearn, and we hope, and we try, and we work. And then eventually we get where we need to go. That's the way. That's the pathway. That's the safe way. To the awe of leaving Mitzrayim, of Geula from our Galus, and bringing a real connection, enjoying life, enjoying Hashem in our life.